Well, here we are in January 2017 with a red sofa interview with the inimitable Mr. Peter Brown from Fareham Crusaders. Morning, Peter.
Good morning.
A couple of questions for you then.
Yeah.
Who are you?
My name's Pete Brown and I run for Fareham Crusaders. Been running for about 10 years now. The majority of it with Fareham Crusaders. They're my club. I run from home as well.
So it sort of leads us on to the next question really. How and when did you start? So you've said about 15 years ago, but how and why did you start perhaps?
Well, bizarrely my son, Toby, was born 11 years ago and I decided that I didn't want to be a couch potato dad. And I was probably about 3 stone overweight. So decided that I would start to jog and did. And I spent probably a year or so deciding to run, and then somebody said to me, "Are you doing the Great South Run?" Hadn't really thought about it, and then thought, okay, yeah, did that, and thought, where do I go from here? And at the time I was working in Fareham and decided to join the club, and that's where it took off. So yeah, maybe it was my middle-aged thing, but at the age of 40 I decided that I would start running.
Fabulous. And why is running so important to you?
It gives me... I was never really any good at sports. As a kid, I was your Billy Bunter. I had glasses, I was spotty. I was, probably the age of 13, I was 13 stone, because sweets and family, and my grandmother was a lovely country farmer's wife, and she just cooked anything and everything.
Fed you up? Fed
me up, On a Sunday, there'd be like 5 different types of cake for Sunday tea. So I became a big boy. And I was not brilliant at sports. I was okay, but never excelled at anything, to be honest. So I then went through life, and I do, not a workaholic, but I do work very hard at every job that I've been at, and, never had any time of my own. When I got a family and got married, and then obviously Toby came along, it was time to go, as I say, have this epiphany, and I wanted to be part of his life. Didn't want to have any health issues, and so decided to start out running. So running to me seemed the fairly cheapest form of, putting a short pair of shorts on and a pair of trainers, and then started it all off.
And as we all know, pardon me, it's a bit addictive, isn't it?
It is very addictive.
So did joining a running club help you in any way, either physically or mentally?
It helped me in both ways. Certainly physically. The training on the 2 days they do, most clubs will do a Tuesday and a Thursday. Some clubs who are a bit more intense, obviously do near enough every day. But for me, Fareham, because it's very social, very laid back, you come if you want. It's a bit like going to college, if you want to put in, you put in. If you don't, then you dip in and out. But for me, physically, it got me from a 10-minute mile to an 8-minute mile over a period of probably about a couple of years. And I'm certainly no Usain Bolt or a Mo Farah. And as I say, being the age of 40, I wasn't going to set the world alight, but for me, it did what it did. Certainly from a mental point of view, having those types of people that are like-minded around you gave you great confidence, and anything was achievable, and God bless him, young Mr. Ken Edwards, who was one of the captains when I first joined. He said, "Are you going to do your first race then, Pete?" I said, "Yeah." He said, "Alton 10, that'll be a lovely one." "Yeah, it's quite flat." I went, "Oh, all right then."
He lied.
He did lie. In a big way,
and
I'll never forgive him in a nice way. But after doing it, it was like, okay, that was hilly, that wasn't flat, but guess what? It was done. And then the whole journey sort of started, and I did my first marathon about 4 or 5 years ago, and that was the first ever Milton Keynes. Which was the most horrendous day ever. Torrential rain, and the club gave me the opportunity 2 years ago of doing London when I won a place in the ballot. And I have to say it was one of the most extraordinary experiences I've ever had in
It
my
is
life.
emotional, isn't it?
Oh, truly, truly, truly. You know, from getting married and having Toby, being there at the birth, London in a different way. You know, the love and the understanding of the people of you wanting to achieve, you know, irrespective of who you were and what you were, was just incredible. You know,
Yeah, I think there's a lot of that in the running community.
there is certainly is, and that's one of the things that brings me, you know, it gives me confidence. You know?
Well, that's good because it brings me on to the next question. How do you come back from a lack of confidence?
Yeah, you know, life is quite strange. You know, it throws a lot of things at you. You know, stresses, strains, anxiety, you know, lack of confidence issues, you know, because not everybody is the strong, powerful one, and ultimately, you know.
Well, I don't want to interrupt your flow, mate, but I very often have found in my 55 years that it is exactly those that appear to be the most confident that lack confidence, and it's a lot of it's a front. But sorry, carry on. Yeah,
you know, it's the strong, silent types that ultimately, you know, might be suffering the most.
Yeah.
And you know, whether it be work issues, home issues, or just issues every day, that you need something to take you away from that. Now, some people have music, some people take drugs, some people do whatever. My thing is, because I was never a great athlete when I was younger, running is my thing. You know, I'm not great at it, I'm not brilliant at it, but guess what? I do it, and I do it quite well. I'm never going to be a 6-minute miler, never ever in the month of Sundays, but ultimately I can do a marathon. Might take me 4 hours, might take me 5 hours, might take me 6 hours, but guess what? The grit and determination that people use to get to the end, you know, and using Ron Hill's, you know, you can walk it, you can jog it, you can crawl to it, but just finish it for God's sake.
That's right. And at the end of the day, a mile is still a mile.
And a mile is still a mile. So, you know, running gives me my time, my space, and ultimately, you know, the confidence. I can understand the book of I've never read it, The Loneliness of a Long Distance Runner. You know, you're on your own and you just have to, you keep on going, you keep on going, you keep on going. So in the other sense, having a running club with like-minded people, you know, some of them are really quick, some of them are not so quick, but ultimately you are there. It's like a school club.
It is. It's like family.
And it is family because, you know, it's the old adage, isn't it? You can't choose your family, but you can certainly choose your friends. And, you know, you can offload and you can do whatever because, you know, for that hour or 2 hours you're with them every day, and people gain friends, and I've gained a few friends from the club that certainly, you know, I would take to my grave. You know, they're special people, you know, and ultimately, you know, that's what it is about.
I think that's a good way of summing it up, really. I mean, it's definitely family, and
you know, I've just experienced this morning, you know, with the Breakfast Club, you know, and not everybody would drive 20 minutes, half an hour to get up at like .00 in the morning to come for a run.
Mm-hmm.
But the people that are there are all for the same reason. And then when you finish and you've elated, and if you've just run 9, 10, 5, 6, even a mile, you know, the camaraderie that comes from that is something that you can never take away.
No, absolutely, couldn't agree more.
Never take away.
And I think you'll find that if any non-runners are watching this at some point, they couldn't fail to be inspired and maybe encouraged to put the shoes on and take it up for the first time.
No, absolutely. I think that, you know, from whatever walk of life that you come from, you could be a policeman, a professor, an unemployed person, that ultimately you need to come out of that daily routine, you know, and get involved with something, because there are people there and who naturally care because you come to them and they want you to succeed in whichever way. You know, with a club, you know, even though they're not setting the bar, you naturally want to say, okay, well, at the moment I might be running this, but guess what? He's there, I can catch him. I might get close or I might go past him, but ultimately at the end of the day, you're there trying to do your bit. And in the long term, it's about you. It's your life. It's your race. You know, it's like doing London. You know, you can set a time, but ultimately you can do all the training. But on the day, it might not happen. But guess what? You did finish.
And that's pretty much it really. I mean, hashtag get involved.
Get involved. Absolutely. Well, you know, the Run family is something very, very special.
Here, huzzah. Pete, thanks for taking your time.
No worries at all.
Early on a Sunday morning, albeit after breakfast. And we'll see you at a race somewhere soon, mate.
Thank you very much.
Cheers.